What a game, but a quick one. 13-3, just like we expected. Shopify Rebellion still at the top. But hey, that's 3 rounds. That's an improvement over the 2 rounds that Teddy Tactics, you start with 0, you go to 1, you go to 2, you go to 3, and you add up. But what was interesting, Riv, is that we were studying a bit of the compositions of the agents. We were hyping up the elaborate Sonder jet off. But interestingly, Teddy Tactics ran the double duelist with the raised jet. What were the strengths? What was missing from this?
They knew exactly what they wanted to do each time and kind of used the duelist to go forward. But sometimes the utility got separated. A lot of the peaks were dry. We saw a few times elaborate blast packing into B heaven to find a fight, and Benita was sitting there with a judge with welcoming arms. So they thought a little bit that Shopify Rebellion was buying a bit of the fakes, buying a bit of this movement because some of the duelists were showing. But Shopify played very strong. The other side, that double initiator comp, if you want to be re-hitting things, that allows you more flow. It allows you to significantly hit the site where somebody could make it believable and then do that again somewhere else. So I think maybe switching to a single, I'm not sure. I think the W duelist gets them into a little too much trouble, though, Vans.
Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, I do like what I saw from Teddy Tactics on Split. Despite only having 3 rounds, we talked about it before going into the map. We wanted to see what have they learned from the last time that they played against Complexity. I said, don't try to go too fast and try to see if you could mid-round. What I like here, they went a little bit against what Shopify Rebellion was setting up here with the Killjoy, making more passive information off a turret and off the alarm bot, for example, on mid and A. So there was a lot more defaulting going around for Teddy Tactics that resulted in a couple of these first bloods that we saw on the scoreboard over here, which then capitalized on site takes. But then again, when you're playing against Shopify Rebellion, you have players that are just popping off the way that you do with, for example, Sonder on a judge, or Benita on a judge, or just everybody shooting in general. It's very hard to do. But I do like it, at least from Teddy Tactics, that, the execution off the defaults worked out in their favor. The trades were perfect. I saw some players playing anti-flash as well, just to make sure that the first contact comes in, but the trade is guaranteed. So I like that learning curve that was brought in here from what they've learned from Complexity. But again, it's still what we talked about before the show here, Lemon Kiwi. It's still potentially the best team in North America right now with Shopify Rebellion that they have to play against and try to beat them.
And looking at what they do as they come in, Shopify plays this map so strong, right? They know that Teddy's going to have something, or Teddy Tactics is going to have something planned. Teddy Tactics says, we want to play split again. But Shopify Rebellion, I think, found the weakness, and they played their own game. They played very steady, very strong, and a lot of just rotational teamwork there and non-rotating to make sure the sites were anchored to stop Teddy Tactics from getting in. So good first map, but there's still more to go.
I'm excited to see what's up next, but I want to touch on Flowerful's Killjoy, which is something we brought up in the pre-show about her transition towards that from Chamber. Vans, what did you think of the Sentinel choices between Flowerful's Killjoy and Asher's Cypher?
Yeah, so this is what I was going to talk about as well, from what I like from Teddy Tactics to be able to work against Killjoy's utility. But I still like the KJ on a map like Split, for example. When I'm thinking of, sorry, Alex, I'm putting you on the spot here, Proto, but there's been moments and challenges when he was playing a Cypher on Split where he places most of his trips and camera to find information on hits into A heaven, try to control it that way. But there was moments where their opponents were just able to hold and hug that wall into A main, just crouch through and slowly walk through the A side and get a backstab flank. You can't do that against a Killjoy when you're placing that turret on the top of that flower pot. And the range that you have on that utility from the KJ alarm bot and also from the turret, it still allows you to play in a different position, not fully anchored into like an A site or something like that too. So, you saw Flowerful change angles in different spots on pretty much the same utility that she places on most of the times on the A site. Yeah. It worked out very well.
Her and Benita trading those stars and util, right?
I like the way that even though you had those KJ turrets, Elaborate would just walk in and say, screw it, I'm coming in with a rocket launcher. I love the round 10 3K she got. Who cares about that turret? But I do care about what's going to happen in game 2. We'll go to the map selection in a second. And I think this has some implications. Pearl. This is Shopify Rebellion's pick. Both these teams have played this in GC so far. Teddy Tactics won this not only once, but twice against Karmi in that open qualifier, 13-5, 13-6, pretty commanding scores. But Shopify, they also won a Pearl map against Overkill Black, but it was 13-10. Riv, are you seeing this as, well, even though this is Shopify Rebellion's pick, they don't seem to think this is a weakness.
They don't. It's a comfortable double controller map for them, so they can, again, kind of make their own angles, get into the site how they want. I think Teddy Tactics is going to have to be very careful about how they read into the plays, because there can be a lot of tricks that Shopify Rebellion plays here with the composition. And they come in, what does Shopify go with? They do have the kill. No, they don't have the KO. Okay, they have the Harbor Viper Sky.
Yep.
So still with Sky identification, they have to be careful with KO knife. So once they can do that and identify maybe where the KO is consistent, they should be able to set up this controller setup to take the sites.
Yep, the beauty of it, of that double controller, is scaling up with the high tides that are coming out here from Harbor. We've seen that in the line, combines very well with the Sky Flash. I like that they're adding the Jet too, so you could dash even across off that timing to open up sites. But on the other end there, for Teddy Tactics, they've won their maps playing double initiator instead, so a KO and a fade. So just trying to make sure that people are not able to play aggressively into like a B control, but also on their attack to default a lot more to clear out towards B link. And I feel that this is going to be a nice chess match between these two teams.
And
you get the Jet matchup too.
True. The Jet off. Yeah, I hope so, because we've been hyping it up. We even got the stats for it. And Pinecone, our fellow friend, also producer, has to be curating these narratives for us. She knows what we're trying to cook, but we're also cooking a game too. It's gonna be on Pearl. Match point for Shopify Rebellion to move on in the bracket. And we're gonna send it over to our casters again. Tanner and Dryad, have fun.
Shout out the desk once more before we eventually become the desk Dryad. I think we might have one more of those ahead of us. They mentioned it right at the end. Shopify, Rebellion, Teddy Tactics. Most importantly, Jet versus Jet. We're going to get the Jet duel in Dryad. I said, coming into this one, there's a world. I might be crazy. You looked at me through Discord like I was crazy. There's a world where Sonder gets Jet diffed. The way that she had looked in map 2, the map, I guess, or series 2 of day 1, was a little bit slower on the Jet. She's been working on the operator. She's been bringing that one out. Elaborate on the other side, however, had some pretty good stats. And when we get into Pearl, I think we're 13-3 is not where we're going to land, I think. That's basically what I'm getting at.
And look, I get what you're saying, right? Because when we look at how Pearl went last time for Shopify, it was a 13-10, and we were talking about it today, about how Shopify, sometimes they have to give away those rounds and they have to make those maps very close. They're still able to close it at the end in a 2-0 fashion like they've been able to do in the past couple days, but it can still go to the distance. And for Teddy Tactics, it is what you're hoping for. You're going to be relying so much on the one player that you talked about, Elaborate, and also changing roles a little bit more, because we've seen 2 days ago, the first day of Game Changers, we got to see Arya only on this duelist role on this broadcast, but she is an incredibly flexible player, so she's going to be now on the Astra.
Yeah, that moves Cal on over to the Fade, so information garnered. Pinecone still rocking the Flash role, and Astro obviously on that trusty Sentinel. Getting a little wacky silly though, like Viper is agent that we sometimes see on this map. How about the Harbor for KP, showing a little bit of flexibility there, usually playing the info there, or themselves, excuse me. And yeah, it's got to happen sometime. It might be a little while before we see Gecko, so I'm happy to see Harbor while we've got him.
I really like it. I mean, we've seen it for a couple of teams, especially recently. I know for sure Leviathan, they like to run this composition that Shopify Rebellion is running. And I like it for the B executes and even for the retakes. You have so much more value that you can add when you have this Harbor and this double controller. So I'm excited to see how Shopify is going to play it.
A good C's to slow things down as we're quick through Art all the way into the spawn. A different look at crunching B Link here coming up from Teddy Tactics. The Haunt goes out and over the top, and Flowerful is marked and has to back away.
Gonna back away for a second, but Flowerful on this role, especially used to it, and relying a little bit more on that full retake coming through. The only one going down is Benita for 4v4.
3 of 4 inside the link here. Out goes the high tide and shots. They just miss back and forth. Pinecone, first contact here on the side. A backstab on the Lord. He was tossing out the util. That will never get popped. And now it's all up to KP. Finds themselves spinning around 3 defenders. Unfortunately, not able to get it done there. KP falls. Teddy Tactics, they grab the pistol.
Throughout the whole time, Elaborate never took any damage. At those 25, those light shields. And the play there was good. I mentioned a little bit about the harbor here. For the retakes, there's a good chance for Shopify, but of course, I mean, it becomes a little bit harder in that situation. For Teddy Tactics, this is a good way to start off for this map number 2. You want to put up a fight against Shopify, and the desk talked about it. The players talked about it. About how much they learn about playing against complexity. And you want to see all those concepts applied on this map number 2. Against the Titan of Shopify.
Yeah, a lot to take away from that series. Aggressive in the purchase. Ooh, okay, Benita.
That happens to me, I get it.
Yeah, sometimes it'd be like that. That is the takeaway from that one. There's a couple of sheriffs only for Teddy Tactics. They're looking to have a really strong bonus, and it's going to be that much stronger if they get out of this round flawlessly. Cats are cursed.
How dare you? Sonder here.
Sometimes it'd be like that.
Yeah, Sonder cannot do too much. The last one here. And that play, that positioning that we saw behind screens for Benita, I've seen a couple of players do it. I like it with the Viper because if they're not spraying from the other side and they just go for the swing, that Viper wall is going to cover her. And it's just all about timing. But when that happens and they're shooting you from the other side and you're getting taken down, of course the play's not going to get too much value. Also, one that you can't do too many times, unfortunately, because you see that Viper there once, you're going to be expecting it every single time.
Yeah, it feels like a very early round to expend that position, right? You're on an anti-eco. Teddy Tactics are expecting something cheeky to happen. They don't get aggression out towards long, so hey, we have to clear every angle. And like you mentioned, it's going to be tough for anybody to revisit that position later in the game. Teddy Tactics will be aware of that.
Yeah, especially when you already got to see it once. So the positioning, yeah, of course, is going to change. Shopify, they're going to play you far back. They're going to have those rifles, but so does Teddy Tactics. A good chance here to play for the heavy investment that they have. The Viper wall, though, making it a little more difficult to deal with. And you see the ping behind the screen, exactly what we were talking about. They saw it once. They're like, hey, let's make sure it's not happening again.
Yeah, very possible that somebody is there. And I kind of like this look. Back out towards B. Right, make Shopify think a little bit because they've hit this side a couple of times, but you're also making sure that if you can find an early pick through screens, then you do. So shots towards screens, nobody there, so look to make plays elsewhere. Meanwhile, Flowerful's been hanging out on an island here, surrounded by utility.
Oh, getting closer and closer, but everybody getting spotted on both sides, staying to that initiator util, and even though the Viper wall is up, it's gonna be the swing. Laurie, though, the first one to get a kill. Pinecone goes down.
Oof. A kill going the way of Elaborate, though, with Sonder there to trade it back, make it 2.
Spike down B.
Elaborate still back calls, but does not have the spike in her possession. Arya, however, playing inside the smokes and making this one seem a bit more achievable here. 10 seconds left on the clock. Spike retrieved, but not yet planted. A 2v2 is where we've landed after all of this, and unfortunately for Elaborate, just too much to worry about. KP drops down, runs her down, and finds the round for Shopify.
Got risky for a second. Part of the reason why that happened was because of that heavy buy that we saw from Teddy Tactics. Mostly all players with the rifles and taking the duels up close. It doesn't matter. Shopify getting away with the first round here. And the reposition was everything. Playing a little bit more far back.
Placing swarm grenade. Turn out.
Though, I'm really interested. Once again, I know Vance talked about it. The setups that we've seen with the Killjoys and Challengers, now in Game Changers. Flowerful has a big role here. A 4-1 play. The first contact here. There's gonna be that killjoy utility.
And Elaborate's just gonna run right through the utility, get absolutely cooked. Pinecone was trying to follow her duelist to death, and that's exactly what happens. Sensory deprivation for just a second, but it's all up to Cal and Ash to try and stop Shopify from tying everybody up.
It's a risky play as well when you have the nanostorms on the floor and Benita still up close. The timing there for the communication has to be perfect, guaranteeing Benita's gonna get one, and there's no way out, especially when you're swinging in, when you're going in with Elaborate. It's a good play from Shopify early on to get the numbers advantage. Now you have Call and Astru. That last one's here, and yeah, one of them already getting spotted.
And not an undoable situation. Astru usually doing well in the lurk. On Split has a bit more room to play with here on Pearl. Not in this round, maybe the next as KP finds the perfect timing, both unexpecting of the Harbor, and we do finally reach that tie scoreline.
Really good play, and this is when things start to change. From what we've seen from the controllers and even the Sentinel on the side of Shopify, they have so many versions that they like to show us. This is what we've seen the map as well a couple times. And again, it can go to the distance, but it can also... In the open qualifier, in a qualifier like this one, it lets you get more practice on the executes that Shopify might have planned, and in the setups that they have on this defense. Once again, with the killjoy towards A. Now, Benita playing so far back, but Elaborate looking for something towards R.
Very bold as well. KP tossed out an early high tide and no utility. Knives in hand. Elaborate just pushed right through it. Fortunately, wasn't met by anything. So survives for now, but when you look at anything that they've got in this round, you look at Astru with the Bulldog and Elaborate with those knives to get a whole lot done for the attack.
And in the meantime, there's gonna be Laurie very up close towards Link. And because of that, the Jet on the side of Shopify was able to get that forward position towards B. It could be some really good timing. So Elaborate is playing the long game here, quiet.
Finished.
Look at the sight though. Arya trying to find good timing on a Flower Full, but ready for the push. KP also ready on her line. And Cal once more with a +1. This time it's Pinecone. Is able to uproot the flower once more, but KP just so good on it. Huge rounds coming from the IGL of Shopify Rebellion. And finally, 5 rounds in, they'll find themselves the lead.
KP good for those multi-kills. Once again, we saw last round, we saw last map.
Enemy remaining. 30 seconds left.
And leading from the front, once again, is this player. As now is going to be that ultimate available. Flowerful is going to have hers as well. And the positioning here has been all about the patience from Shopify. Again, we saw that forward position, but he never got spotted from Sonder. They're able to do it again, and look at this.
Oof. Yeah, you know, this is a very interesting role, right? Shopify, outside of the 2 series that they've played, plus this one, we haven't seen them at all, Dryad. And the op role, it was Flowerful's, because Flowerful was strictly playing the chamber on every map. So Sonder, in that time away, has had to pick up this role as the Jet op, and is doing a pretty darn good job, given, you know, not necessarily being the opper of the team previously.
Wave crashing.
And really understanding the strengths of this composition and the setup that you can have on the defense, especially. Doing it so well with everybody. Anita getting one more. Yeah, I got spotted there for a second. Thanks to the C's, but it's fine. Everybody's still alive and a 5v3 to deal with for Teddy Tactics.
A good utility from KP to try and help keep Benita alive. Basically getting run down inside art. And although we've seen Teddy Tactics, I mean, really flex their muscle across the entirety of the map, they've just been doing
30 seconds left.
To no avail. Always finding themselves a member down. This time it's 2. Arya and Elaborate gone. A site now under fire.
Oh, and a couple of the players get suppressed, but still, the time running out slowly, and the kills going the way of Shopify one by one. Teddy Tactics is gonna get shot down. It's so difficult because you know there's gonna be Killjoy utility towards that A side. There's an operator towards B that took down your jet early on, and then reposition towards Link. The chances were so low for Teddy Tactics and Shopify. Those are the rounds that they need, and they do win convincingly.
Also very unfortunate that Pinecone was 1 HP in that round and just got randomed through the cascade by Flowerful. It's you put it in the list of things you hate to see as a Valorant player. Ooh, look at this. I love this. Cascade out. Fade Dog there, but Sonder still finds their one.
Gets spotted by the hunt and still commits to it for a little bit longer. Gets the 1 kill, and again, it had to be elaborated on the other side. What a play. Full confidence in the use of utility there. The Harbor and the Jet playing together. Immediately shutting down Teddy Tactics. And it's the same situation as the last round.
Good haunt. That will be dealt with. Benita on the other side of the wall. Beautiful utility there from Flowerful.
No way.
One enemy remaining.
Cuts down Cal. More utility to find another. And Ash, oh man, it's a shorty on the other side. A flawless round in favor of Shopify as they continue this win streak that they've put together.
You can tell how much Shopify has been practicing this composition. All the combinations of utility with the Harbor especially, which still feels very new into the competitive scene of Valorant. We've seen it a couple times here and there, but it seems like people are just getting used to it. Now for Shopify though, KP, knowing exactly how each one of those rounds is gonna play out, and when you are the IGL as well, and you're able to connect with Sonder to that extent is so nice. Now, 4 Marshals for Teddy Tactics.
Ooh. Yeah, we're seeing some breeze strategies come out here for Teddy Tactics. They look to take the long angle, and to start things off, things do not go their way.
And the read again, so good. Killjoy utility once again towards this B side. Got a kill last time. Got a kill last round. Gonna go for it again. Just holding it for a little bit longer. And again, because of that, the Jet for Elaborate is gonna be completely isolated. Spotted as well. Low HP. Just nothing he can do.
Yeah, nothing at all. Toxic Screen separates the few that remain from Teddy Tactics from death. Astru, though, no Marshal, a Sheriff instead. Find a couple of kills for herself. Backs away just at the perfect time. Not to fall to Sonder. They want to try and deal with this flank, but KP just a nuisance. Dancing around, up and over the top of the boxes. The spray, it goes wide. It gets away from her, and unfortunately, the scoped rifle duel does not continue the round for Teddy Tactics. Instead, it's Sonder to close it out.
And it is one of the biggest problems now. When you're dealing with a composition like the one Shopify is running, you're often seeing this kind of play happen where the Jet has to dash in but gets completely isolated because of the Killjoy utility, and everybody else is left behind waiting around. And at that time, Shopify, they make the rotations, they get the kills. It just becomes so difficult. I mean, they haven't even needed to use all the heavy ultimates, right? The lockdown hasn't been a necessity for the retakes. They're just giving no chance for Teddy Tactics to work that.
And Flowerful has earned the respect of Teddy Tactics. They're not crossing with that Nebula recall any longer. They're giving it a second to breathe. Last time this B site was heavily defended by the utility. This time, Null Command will make sure that that is not an option for Shopify.
So that means they're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, but they can just wait this ultimate up. For this now, a lockdown coming through on the attacking side. And a duel that Benita knew about. No, didn't know exactly the position, so Arya's gonna get the best of it.
Yeah, big kill there. A nice win in the round as the retake comes through. Again, sensory deprivation for Shopify Rebellion as they get hit by the Nightfall. Elaborate. Find the kill on her counterpart. Lori there for the trade, though. The dynamic duo of Lori and Sonder, that goes unmatched once more. As earmuffs are still on for the rest of the defense, they'll slowly start to work their way in and find these kills. As Cal and Arya try to hang on, the high tide is up. The Guardian shots don't land, but look at this. The late play from Arya has been just enough to take the round for Teddy Tactics.
And just in time, what a play. We saw the initial duel with Vanita towards mid, pushing Blink. But there was so much going on. There was a Nightfall, there was the lockdown, everything as well that gave enough time for Arya to get into this position, to get that last kill. Get 3 towards the end, shutting down Lori. Such a heavy ultimate round, but he gets the value that Teddy Tactics wanted.
A very good timing from Arya, too. Finding that kill early in the retake on Bonita, and then being patient enough to eventually go back into B-Link without being expected here. That is a masterful round from the Astra of Teddy Tactics. Meanwhile, B-Site once more. It's under fire, but Sonder's here. Doesn't matter if you turn off the abilities. The operator's here. Look at Elaborate, though. All the way up. Inside the spawn, they look to go. Arya, best Bonita once more, but Sonder's still here, and she's still firing. 2 more shots before she has to reload, and she doesn't even need to.
Last player
We talked about the operator from Sonder. Push back, couldn't even hear anything, but it doesn't matter. He has the 3 kills, and the rest of the team gonna take care of it just fine. 7 rounds for Shopify. And 2 more to go on this first half, where Teddy Tactics, they have some right ideas. Especially towards this B side, but the setup is always changing. You never know where you're gonna find first. Is it gonna be the operator for Sonder, the utility, with the Viper wall even making it difficult?
Turret out.
And, you know, I respect it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Or don't break it. However the saying goes. If it's not broke, don't break
what?
it. That's what I'll say. Okay?
Wait, what?
You know, if it's not broken, keep doing it. You know, if the B site hasn't been stopped, if the hit hasn't been stopped, just keep going back to it. That's what Teddy Tactics' plan was. But Sonder broke.
Oh, it's a fake though with a cosmic divide here. There was the B side. But what Shopify does is push even forward though. Okay, KP goes down. Laurie once again answering. Laurie having such a good game. And the mental games here for Teddy Tactics work to make things even though. 3v3.
And the problem is Killjoy set up out towards A. It's going to be way too hard to dig out Flowerful. And now as they finally look to make good on this push out towards B. Again, it's Sonder to break it. It's Bonita to break it. It's Shopify to find their aim.
Last round.
And the play was maybe doable if it was only Sonder towards Link, as we get to see Pinecone swinging, trying to get a timing into it, but it's always that perfect duo of Lori and Sonder on this B side. If it's not the heavy Killjoy utility, it's gonna be them too. And it's exactly what you're expecting again from this composition, from the Jet, from the Sky. With no holes, no mistakes here. Teddy Tactics timeout for the last round of the half.
I think one of the stark differences between map 1 and map 2 is the way that Shopify have been winning some of these rounds. What we saw a lot on Split was shaky economy for both teams. Even in victory for Shopify, they were still bringing in judges and bulldogs. This time around, though, it's been a bit cleaner on the round wins.
Yeah, it's really understanding the strengths of the composition and the maps as well, right? How many of those close angles can you hold with a judge here? Not too many, maybe towards Link. That we got to see a couple early on, but it's gonna be more than anything the role of this operator. And I think the way this Jet and this Killjoy are gonna be holding down sides. That's why you see them at the top of the board, right? When things are going right, it just feels good for them.
With his aggression, expecting to flash, no way, dashes forward, will get punished for it. Fortunately, Pinecone does not let that one go unpunished.
The dash, but still a trade at the end of the day with Fade going down for the side of Teddy Tactics. But now it's time for the operator in the hands of Elaborate. The economy has been rough. They take that timeout.
Goodbye.
They want to get this one on the board, but that's the green light for Shopify to play so aggressive. Look at Bonita, where she was, and also where Lori is.
Initiated.
I mean, you see the stark difference for the best teams in the world. I will hold that thought as the second best team in the world may just be bested here in this round. Eventually, Lori will confirm that kill through the lurk, and Pinecone has to hang on. Has utility to play with. Has not been revealed, but it looks like Flowerful knows. Shots out. Lori won't come off the spike just yet. Flowerful will find the kill. So the round eventually does belong to Shopify Rebellion, but what we've seen from this team, Dryad, is
sides.
when space is given, Shopify take it. And anytime that Teddy Tactics is trying to work the map, play the fakes, they weren't allowed to because somebody was inside market. Somebody was out towards mid. I mean, another round right here where KP is taking the space that's been given to the defense and punishing the attack with it.
And it is the same score of the half that we saw in the map number 1. But yeah, I just think this is such a strong composition for Shopify. And yeah, we got the chance to show it a little bit on the defense, but on the attacking side, it can be scary. Use the cove to get that spike planted towards B. And it is so difficult, though. There's a plan for Teddy Tactics. 4 players pushing B long and nobody to be found there, though.
Quick through Art. Killjoy utility here to maybe try and stall or do some damage, but not quite calling that one just yet. KP will deal with this second. Then Astru just needs to get out of dodge.
I know it was a gamble there for the piss around of Teddy Tactics on this defensive side with 4 players pushing forward, but that's now the plan that Shopify wanted. So having to play for the retake. Did they know that so many other players are going to be here?
I mean, Sonder never gave up her position there, but it might not matter. Finally, we get this flank to come to fruition. 3 players remain for Teddy Tactics, but they're running out of time. Unfortunately, Father Time is somebody that gets so much harder to beat when there's 4 players in front of you. Make it 3, as Sonder says sayonara on the round. It still belongs to Shopify Rebellion.
The play for Teddy Tactics, it wasn't bad. It was just one of those gambles that you take in the pistol rounds and the eco rounds. Try to go for that aggression, make something different, especially when you're able to trade each other out. But of course, not the plan that Shopify wanted, and at the end of the day, the play that Shopify ends up working with as the only one having a heavier investment is going to be Elaborate. Marshall once again on the defense, and now all 5 players towards B.
Aggression from Teddy Tactics. We know to expect this here, and okay, it's a bloodbath, but everything in favor of Shopify.
That was just one of the quickest rounds that we've seen as well. Teddy Tactics, they go for the same, even stronger approach. Oh, and it could have worked. It depended on that early Viper utility and the swing all at the same time into going the same. This side of Shopify. Yeah, it was a little bit expensive. But the buy is not going to be great for Teddy Tactics this round. The match point.
Blinded.
Surely, Teddy Tactics walk away with this one. They did immense damage to the economy of Shopify Rebellion in the last. So they bring a Guardian and a Bulldog into this bonus round behind, I guess, in front of, I should say, 2 Sheriffs and a Ghost. So the Arsenal is in favor of Teddy Tactics.
Poison's off.
Obstacle removed.
Clean for Pinecone here. First kill as Benita goes down. And yeah, a little bit stronger now when it comes to the rifles at hand. The weapons at hand for Teddy Tactics. Also having the numbers, so trying to keep them all the way towards the end. Killjoy utility that Shopify is going to deal with towards this B side, where they're going to end up.
And that high tide, it just makes it not very desirable to want to try and push onto the site. You have to push
Sonder
through
so
it.
good.
And Sonder goes deep, grabs the first. Nice response though from Astru. Sonder still in a bit of heat, but finds a second, fights her way forward, and We'll hope to find an upgrade, but it's just another Guardian. Meanwhile, Flowerful takes a bite out of one. Sonder now left with the knives, but still has help behind her as the spin from Astro is almost good for the first. So close, but yet so far.
Match point.
Shopify look to mimic their scoreline in map 1 here in map 2.
It was the same though. The score of the half was the same, the 9-3. And then the chance to do exactly the same for this map number 2. Match point for Shopify. And even though the buy wasn't the greatest, you have Sonder getting kills with the Guardian, then you have the Blades. There's that decision making as well for Shopify with this. Really understanding their strengths. Now Teddy Tactics fighting for their life. Back against the wall, trying to get something. Sonder is not going to give a chance. But Elaborate trying to answer back. Gets 2, make it 3.
Enemy remaining. Spike down A.
Wow, okay. I mean, at death's door, Teddy Tactics, they battle back into it and they leave it all up to Flowerful for Shopify. Spike in hand, but all 3 defenders on the other side of this wall here on the A site.
And these 2 teams, they love the aggression. We've seen it over and over again. We saw map number 1 on Split. We're seeing it here on Pearl. That aggression is finally paying off for the side of Teddy Tactics. Wander's met so well by Sonder, but Elaborate also has something to say about it. 1v2 though to deal with. And yeah, Teddy Tactics now going for the same score as that map number 1. They're gonna make it to 4, try to push forward from it.
What's the buy look like here? A couple of players low in credits for Shopify Rebellion. We see 3 rifles, but KP and Laura, you're gonna have to do a juggling act to bring something into this one. Bulldog picked up. Light Shield Guardian found for Lori. So it's not the worst. Meanwhile, on the other side, Elaborate bringing the knives into the round. We saw what Arya could do with the knives in map 1. Now we get to see it on the side of Elaborate.
Toxins going up.
Get some information very early on. Quickly going towards his
Toxin
A
screen
site.
down.
Now it should be easier than that last round. The timing here being everything for Shopify. You mentioned it, the buy isn't the greatest, but it should be strong enough as the Harbor Ultimate gets used, and that means you just have to keep moving. Gonna get out of it even.
To my world.
Sonder is trying to make a gravesite inside the spawn of Teddy Tactics, but instead she'll find herself 6 feet under. Elaborate with the knives. Gonna go wide on the rest of them, but backed up by Astro. 3 kills found here in the retake. And for the retake show, it's an episode that Teddy Tactics have seen before, so they shut the TV off and they do this one flawlessly.
Nice. It was that call to go into the A site.
Flawless.
For Shopify, and Teddy Tactics ready for it. A flawless as well. It feels like we haven't even seen that for Shopify. So Teddy Tactics feeling a difference, and the composition is also helping them out to do so. Pinecone having such a massive role into it as a KO. Teddy Tactics, they should be good for a couple more rounds. And on the other side though, Shopify, they had that comfortable buy for the last one with a couple rifles, a couple of those bulldogs. Now they have to go for the full economy reset. And this is when Teddy Tactics can get some momentum. This is what you're hoping to see for this newer team.
This is also where you need to see Teddy Tactics still give respect over to Shopify Rebellion. You can't just walk into this round willy-nilly and expect to win because of the economy. And they will do just that. Passive hold basically across the map.
Grounded. That's good though. That's a perfect opening kill if anything. You take down Sonder. And the chances here increase. We even saw it in that map number 1. The first kills for both teams were so even. It was 8-8 first kills. It was kind of what happened after and how you turn those numbers advantage into a round victory. That Teddy Tactics needed to do a little bit more, and they are absolutely doing it here. In the second map, Elaborate 4-2. Should be the round. Yeah, it is gonna be the round for Teddy Tactics. They make it to 6.
Yeah, Pinecone gets some value out of that one and done position, makes it 2 and done for Teddy Tactics. We saw Benita try it earlier in the game, and it didn't work. So Pinecone shows us how to get it done. Elaborate, more importantly, shows us how to get it done with this operator. And a couple of kills. And again, a round where it's not the best buy for Shopify, sure, but still need to give them respect. But much like the last coming into this one, there's a lot more to work with for Shopify. So if you're Teddy Tactics, gotta show that same amount of respect. Ooh, elaborate. It wants to get a little disrespectful out towards mid. Gonna try and take the fight. Unfortunately, won't land the flick onto Loria. Flash just around the corner. Elaborate able to back away, reposition, and look for more.
And they wanted to get the kill into Elaborate so bad. So many players trying to swing things to the utility. Doesn't find anything though. So it's that reposition from Teddy Tactics. And Arya goes down first.
Arya's gone. Spike to be planted. Util placed on top of it, but good null command. It turns the utility off. KP maybe a little lost in the sauce here. Trying to tuck away here in this default position. Looks to take the first fight as Pinecone to win it. IGL down now. 4 players remain on both sides. Lockdown comes through. Teddy Tactics trying to force him off the side. Going up top is Sonder as we get the response. The Venn diagrams are here. And unfortunately, it's just proven to be way too much in the retake for Teddy Tactics. It's all up to Elaborate, and she's got no way out. It looks better here in map 2, but the curtain call has happened, and Shopify will take the series.
Shopify, such a strong team, and something that we knew about since last year. They're looking forward to getting better and better. They're just doing that one step at a time, one match at a time. A 13-3 and a 13-6 are the dominant performances that you have to be expecting. And we had the question about map number 1. We never saw Shopify playing on Split before. Now we got to see it. It looked great. It looked awesome even. And for that map number 2, always able to reset that economy, reset the strategy, and be able to close it out in the way that they did.
Yeah, and for me personally, expecting Shopify to be arguably the best team in the tournament, you have to assume they didn't make any changes. They got second place in the world just last year, but we hadn't seen them in officials in a long time. So I come into this one a little wary, thinking they had a Pearl that went 13-10, but it seems like they're just shaking off the rust. Again, hadn't had officials in a long time, so they hop back into the server and they find ways to get it done. 6-0 is where they find themselves in map score 3-0, obviously in their series score, and they're going to be moving forward to our upper quarter finals, where I believe we are going to be headed here momentarily. But for Dryad and I, that is, we are done here on the casting desk. We'll still see you throughout the day as we're going to be bringing you guys the next series, but there's a lot to break down here in this one, so we'll send it back to Lemon, Kiwi, and the guys to do just that.
Thank you so much. Look at these improvements, y'all. 13-0 to 13-2.
Oh, I thought you were talking about us.
13-6. You're doing okay, sweetie. Tanner loves his judge, had some caster curses. Dryad has to deal with them, and we have to deal with this series. Fans, though, Teddy Tactics had a lot to deal with in that map alone on Pearl, with the double controller on B. Saunders has his untouchable op on B. Teddy Tactics could just not shake up the Shopify Rebellion's defense. What could they have done more?
Yeah, I feel that when you're looking at Teddy Tactics on the attack, the biggest thing for me that I take away from this one was that Shopify Rebellion just had way too much utility to deal against everything that you had from Teddy Tactics, right? Like, I was watching in the early games where high tides are coming out right away from KP to just block off mid, block off A main, a Trailblazer comes out towards A main. They have such early information going in for Shopify Rebellion that could just be like, hey, Sonder, get ready. They're gonna come towards this B site. We could just drop him with the operator, but what worked well from time to time for Teddy Tactics is they're able to move into the B site and plant, but in the post plant, it doesn't work out too well because Shopify Rebellion still has a lot of utility to work with. And even in certain rounds where early rounds are adding pressure onto Shopify Rebellion on mid, when I was talking about the double initiator, I saw like a cascade come out from a snake bite on the ground from Shopify Rebellion with a poison orb on the top. So if they were able to, for Teddy Tactics, waste that utility in the beginning and then continue to work towards that late run, the default in that they were playing so well on Split, then I feel that we may have seen, a closer score, because Teddy Tactics looked like they were starting to, find some strides on their defender half.
And I think that it changed as well for Shopify Rebellion to realize that, okay, Teddy Tactics is playing a little slower. We need to go to them. We cannot let them formulate a plan. You have Sonder on your screen there, 7 first kills. Once the operator came into play on that defensive side for Shopify Rebellion, Saunders, like, as well as the utility, the initiators you were saying that were disrupting Teddy Tactics, was in their face. We saw times when Saunders was mid, peeking with those cascades. The Harbor and Jet op setup, or just an op setup with a cascade, makes it so easy for that operator to get the angle they want. Somebody's coming through slow. It's like a hit confirm almost. It's not, but let's be serious. And Saunders going to make it look like that with a Prowler in her face. They just played really well around knowing that Teddy would be able to set up on those defaults and bring a little bit more to the table. So great job on identifying that. And Teddy Tactics, again, we're left to mid-round with something else, where I think that's what's kind of been plaguing them.
At least this was closer, and it felt like at least Teddy Tactics had that beginning momentum. You know, they won the first pistol round, then they won the bonus round. You're like, okay, how far can this go? But just not being able to carry that momentum. But Teddy Tactics did so much to try and maybe dislodge Saunders op, bring 5 baby ops. They brought 5 marshals
Yes,
in
they did.
round 8.
Gotta love the Marshall buy.
They did throw everything but the kitchen sink. But like Shopify Rebellion, we highlighted how they stayed together, and that synergy shows. A lot of people have to catch up to that. Playing off of the Harbor Cascade, the way they were pushing Teddy Tactics out of their own real estate was so great to watch. I'd love to highlight maybe some more players in the series, Vans or Riv. I guess I'll start with you, Riv. Were there any players that you thought, I have to keep my eye on this person for the rest of Game Changers?
Let me see. Who do we want? KP's always on that list. I think Benita's been there as a solid. Looking at the rest of this, I think it's still Sonder. Flowerful, however, is right there behind because of the way they've switched up. But Sonder, for me, has been leading the charge. I think watching this game showed everybody was fragging out, even with Sonder on the top. It took all of the members of Shopify Rebellion to be winning their positions, and you can see the frags are pretty equal. Yeah, there's a few at the top, but everybody's in the double digits there. So Saunders at top, but man, everybody's close in that.
Well, real
Saunders
MVP has to be Van Silly's dog, who's just ready to get on the mic.
Yeah,
Oh, I
think
got
she wants
game.
to come
I
home
just-
with me, all right? We're going to do a triple cast later, Riv. Are you ready? Are you ready, Lulu? Huh? Ready for a triple cast? Yeah? She's actually jumped in
That's
the
a
back
yes.
of my casting chair, just ready to go and hop on, you know?
She is so cute, so amazing, but so was Sonder. Gonna throw
Yes.
it to the Prime Gaming post-match highlights, and when we return, we'll have an interview with Sonder to get her thoughts on the match.
One enemy remaining.
Headshot. All dead?
Exact. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Spike planted. One enemy remaining.
Stay there. Ground. Enemy kill.
Remaining. Attackers.
What's up, everyone? We just finished match number 1. Yes, it went by that quickly because the next team I'm about to talk to are just that good. Everyone say hello to Sonder for our Verizon post-match interview. Hello. So great to meet you. What's it like competing again? It's been a while since the Game Changers Championship.
It feels nice. I competing a lot, so being back in the server and just taking everything 100% serious is really nice.
Yeah. I mean, just playing on the ladder, you're just losing your brain out there. Now you get to play for some real bucks. Be back with the team. I bet the vibes are immaculate. What do you make of, well, I would say the vibes are immaculate for y'all, but the scene is in shambles, Sonder. There's roster mania everywhere, all the big teams breaking up. What do you make of that? You're one of the few teams that did stay together.
Yeah, because obviously we got second last year, so I don't think there's anything that needs to be changed, but this roster mania is really crazy to see how it unfolds and like new teams being created, and yeah, I don't have much to say, but
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's exactly what I was thinking, and why I get so mad when good teams break up. But you said kind of the creation of new teams. Is there like teams that you're worried about, that you're like, oh, is this a super team you got to face off? Or are you feeling confident because your team stayed together and no one else did?
no comment. I mean, it's cool to see like new teams being formed and like new competition, but it's kind of the same old. It's just familiar faces.
I'm just glad, you know, the scene is growing. We got more talent coming in, and we got to change things up. But hopefully the same success for you meets. But what has changed internally for y'all? I know it's just like the same team, but we now see Flowerful playing more Killjoy and Cypher since the Chamber nerfs. How's that been going?
I mean, she used to play Killjoy a lot. It's nothing much changed except she's on the character, her best character, I'd say. And I mean, we're adjusting well with the new chamber, so.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you get to go back to what you know and the team is feeling comfortable. I mean, looking at the results, y'all are popping off. Do you have any, you know, final thoughts on how Game Changers, this qualifier is going for y'all? Any shout outs to the team you want to make?
Dude, we were actually on waitlist. We were on waitlist of before the 32 teams, so, I mean, same old, going through the process.
Yeah.
Qualifiers. I like how it's more spread out this time around though, so it gives us more time.
And there's more teams, so maybe more competition for y'all, longer bracket. I guess you're gonna go crack a cold one with the boys or the girls, the they thems. Congratulations on your match. Go and celebrate, go relax, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, everyone, that was Sonder for our Verizon post-match interview. As you see, the vibes are very chill, you know, when you're beating everyone. Was it 13-6 and 13-3 were the first two games. Shopify Rebellion are looking like the #1 team in North America. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You heard it from Sonder. They get to even go back to the agents they're most comfortable on, but we still have one more match on stream to feature, and we'll announce that once we know where we are in the bracket. So stay tuned and don't go anywhere.
Red Bull gives you wings.
What? What is this from Ye? He is currently unstoppable. True. He is just a consistent demon. El Diablo.
Hey guys, it's Ye. Welcome to my course on optimal VALORANT training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing. I'll slowly come around the corner as well, making sure no one's on these off angles.